Excuse me, my name is Craig Parshall. I represent the only woman who is a defendant in this case, and the only woman ever to have been sued by the National Organization for Women. The unfortunate thing is the discussion this morning did not raise the fact that NOW is seeking to call a racketeering crime the bearing of aborted babies. That is the reductio ad absurdum of their argument. We hope and trust the Supreme Court will agree. We believe their ultimate motivation is to break the back of the pro-life movement by using RICO as a means. We are hopeful that the First Amendment will survive this attack. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, what about threats of violence in the court? Press conference, please not a rally. Can everybody move back? Everybody's going to get a chance.
Now listen. You guys move back now. Move back from the back. You guys way back there. Move back.
You make the case about sit-ins and peaceful protests. What about applying RICO to threats of violence, force, bombings, and things like that?
If the statute was specifically directed to deal with people like Gotti and Keating, who engaged in the racketeering activity to gain something, it was specifically designed to exclude people like Gandhi and King, people whose only motivation was social and political protest. If those people, anybody in this country engages in bombing, it's a crime. Prosecute them under another statute. If anybody engages in murder in this country, and it is an obscenity to suggest that any petitioner in this, any respondent in this case had anything to do with a homicide. The ATF has in fact studied the bombings of the clinics, and the ATF's unequivocal conclusion is there is no national group behind bombing clinics.
But what about the taking of fetuses? Isn't that a game?
That is not a gain within the concept of extortion. It simply is not. And theft is not a predicate offense in RICO. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it's not RICO. RICO was aimed for mobsters and people who loot savings and loans. It was not aimed for animal rights, for the environment movement, for the pro-war or anti-war.
But it has
this is social protest.
It has been used repeatedly against legitimate businesses like law firms. And
it was aimed at legitimate businesses who run their affairs by a pattern of illegal behavior, such as fraud. White-collar crime is in this statute. Organized crime is in this statute. Protest is not in this statute. And if it is in, it's a sad day for the First Amendment in the United States.
Professor Blank, you're saying, are you, that even if your clients were connected with an alleged nationwide conspiracy to bomb, to murder, which you deny, even if they were so connected, it would not be a RICO violation?
It would be a bombing violation and not a RICO violation. Bombing, the federal bombing statute was enacted in 1970 as Title IX of this statute. We had every opportunity to incorporate the bombing statute into the predicate offenses in RICO. We didn't. And it was a conscious choice.
Why?
It was in light of the bombing in Wisconsin. And we thought that we didn't. Bombing, yes. RICO, no. It's just that simple.
So in other words, Mr. Blake, you're saying that RICO provides for an exception for political terrorism?
It does not provide for an exception for political terrorism. Political terrorism is a crime. It violates the bombing statutes. If it includes murder, it violates the murder statutes in 50 states. It's just not RICO. And the reason it's not RICO is there's no principled way to have it applicable to somebody you don't like and not also have it principled to somebody else that you like. Do you want the animal rights movement in? Do you want the environmental movement in? If this country opens up again over Bosnia or Somalia or Haiti, do you want the anti-war demonstrators back in RICO facing not trespass and vandalism, but 20 years in jail, counsel fees, triple damages? The hammer is too hard if you care about the First Amendment.
Professor Blank, you've got a pretty skeptical brief bench today, both more liberal judges and conservative judges, because of the broad way this statute is written. Didn't that give you some difficulty?
I won't comment.
I wonder if we can get the other side in here.
Yeah. Patricia. Okay. Come this way.
You happy, Tricia?